Okay, so today we are going to discuss about a new chapter, which is actually about the software security requirements. This is very important, as you all know that from the day first, we are discussing that the security are to make the software secure. What we require, we need to follow all of these steps at each of the level from design to implementation and even after implementation. And we need to follow the SDLC for all of these steps. Each and every step is highly important, as we discussed in our previous lectures as well. However, we can see that the software requirement, collecting the requirements at the early stage is really highly important with multiple angles. If we are not able to collect the right requirements, then we will not be able to successfully code our program. This is number one. Number two is that in case if suppose we are not able to have the secure requirements, we collected all the requirements, but in case if suppose we don't have the secure requirements, in that particular case, again, we will be in trouble. So you can see the two gentlemen's name at the below. They are the technical manager and managing consultant from the Cigital. It's not a digital, Cigital company. So this presentation we dedicate to them with their courtesy. We update that, but the main contents are from them, and they are the industry people who are talking about the security requirement. We're trying to come up with the most industry cases and real scenarios, as you can understand its important value. So today we will be discussing about the software security requirement. So this is actually the three words combination. It is software, it's security, it's requirement. So it means that we have to have the requirement, which is really required for the software, but we have to have the requirement in a secure form. Now, what it means by the secure form are the security requirement. That is our goal to understand today. Now, as a software engineers, as a developers, when they are going to visit to the company or to the client, they are trying to get the requirements as to fulfill the needs of the customer. Number one. Number two, they are collecting the requirements as to know that what actually methods or system or steps are required to fulfill the operation. And based on that, they can complete their system. So it is equally important for the developer, and it's equally important for the client as well. If client is failed to provide us the the requirements, software requirements, we are not discussing about the security at this moment. We are just discussing about the software requirement, and then we will link with the security. So if the client is not able to or fail to provide the right requirements, then the developer will be failed to come up with the right product what it is actually being expected by the client. In the same way, if the developer or the software engineer is failed to collect the requirement from the client, then that will directly impact to the flow and the quality of the software. And that will be, again, it leads to the failure are unsuccessful, are partially unsuccessful to their particular software. Now, what it mean by collecting a requirement, and what it mean when we are saying that the client is means handing over the requirement. This is the fact that the client is always means providing an information and requirements related to any of the software that is always not complete because they are not the technical guys. They will be knowing mainly about their main functionalities, but they are not knowing about so many other means functionalities which are related to their software. That is the job of the means developer or the software engineer who is collecting the requirements, that how means uh, impressively or how effectively they can collect the requirements, all required requirements as the software which is going to be built can work smoothly. This is the general practice. What we are doing, everybody is doing, all companies are doing. They are following the SDLC. Now we are going to jump in about the security. Now what happened if suppose the client is providing you some information or some requirement that this thing and this thing and this thing we needed. What happened that maybe that requirement become the security threat in future. Now client is not aware about that, and client is not knowing that what is my requirement, how come it will be becoming a threat in future for me. The software engineer who is collecting the rest of the information, we are not going in a detail because that's why we means first part we try to discuss both parties in detail at how they can provide, the client can provide information and how the software engineer can collect the information. And now we are discussing with respect to the security. So what happened if suppose software engineer who is collecting the requirement and he or she collected the requirement, those requirements are the genuine requirements, but somehow they are not secure, or they probably they become the source of the threat or vulnerability in the software at the end. Then how he or she can address it, who to check it, how to monitor it. Now here your job is there as a security engineer. Now I hope that after your yesterday's presentation, maybe you will means it was something good for your brainstorming. Maybe you will start thinking that most of the softwares and the websites what we are using most of the day, we are thinking that they are 100% safe and secure without any threats or without any vulnerabilities or without any having a means point of exploitation. So I believe now your base means based on your own findings, based on your own assessment, now you are pretty clear that each of the software and each of the website or each of the system, they have a number of vulnerabilities. They have the number of the threats already. So you do remember that in the previous classes, we always discuss that as a security engineer, we cannot give 100% free software from vulnerabilities, from threats, and from other things. But we do the threat modeling, we do the risk assessment. You remember we already discussed. So why we are doing that? We are trying to means pinpoint, find out, and then rank them, and then the few things which are actually necessary at the base of the requirement, we try to minimize the danger from them, the security threats from them, and we try to drag them to the safe zone. This is the same thing what you had done means to find out that how these things are. While you run your scanning, so you remember from your reports, that's what you presented yesterday as well, that you noticed that they were showing the priority, high priority, low priority, and medium priority. That is the same thing what I'm discussing about. So these things, what do you think those softwares or those websites what you scanned yesterday or before yesterday for your assessment, what do you think there was no means requirement collection was there? There was no means information provided by the client. There was no other mechanism mechanisms were adopted, yes, everything was there. But you can see that still there are the things there. So you can see that few of the from your presentations, a few of the softwares, a few of the websites, they were having a more number. So it means that most probably that when they adopted or when they plan or when they design, there was no role of the security engineer. So this is the reason this become the open invitation to the hackers, so they can easily hack the systems as well, or they can ruin your system as well. So this is fine. Now, why I'm linking this, what we are discussing right now, which is from the industry, and what you have done, that is also as an industry oriented, what we are doing in the industry, and how we are doing the softwares, and how we tested the real websites or real softwares which are running. We didn't check anything dummy, and now you can see the whole picture is clear to you. So in this whole picture, security requirement is the one of the basic requirement, that how and when we are collecting the requirements, how we are sure, how we can make sure that those requirements what we are collecting, they are the real requirements for the software, and they will not become any threat or any issue for our software. That is the goal for you as a security engineer, and that is the goal for us to discuss whole about today's chapter. So I hope you understand about that what we are considering and what we are focusing and what we are aiming from this chapter. So again, thanks to these gentlemen, what we mentioned them, courtesy to them. So now we are going, before we discuss, so here is our agenda. We already discussed that what are the requirements. I hope as a software engineers, you are knowing about the requirements, that what are the requirements, at least you will be knowing about the main requirements, that we can divide the requirements into the two parts, which is the functional requirement and non-functional requirement. And I hope that you are aware about that. What is the functional requirement and not functional requirement? And then the other requirement, which is known as the derived requirement. That one, the requirement which is derived from based on those requirements. So those requirements we will be going to discuss. And then we will see that how and what are the security requirements. And when we are collecting the requirements, how we make sure that these requirements are collected considering the security aspect. So as a security engineer, whenever in the organization, the requirements are collected, you as a security engineer, you are supposed to go through with those all of the requirements, inspect them and see that what requirements are really against the security threats. So you can drop them or can give, suggest them the alternative, and you can rank the requirements, that these requirements could be highly vulnerable, or which are the medium level of vulnerable, and which are the lower level. So you can rank them and you can discuss with the software team and project managers. So you can suggest them that how they can bring them down or bring them within the safe zone or safe limit. So this is how you are, your job is as a security engineer. And this is something truly important. It's not only a security requirement and definition, but it's a complete domain, and it's a very important area as well. So how do we put the security requirements into real software? That's what I'm telling you, that how we can do that. And we will discuss about the few of the examples that are the anti requirements and abuse cases. So when the requirements what we are collecting, those requirements are actually not in real, then we call those requirements as the abuse requirements or abuse cases. And then finally, we will see and conclude that how these things are working and how this is the important for the software. So for sure, this is truly important, each and everything. So going ahead, here you can see that what are the requirements. This is not a definition, as I mentioned to you. This is something which is a standard. And that standard is from IEEE standard 729, which defines that what is the requirement. I hope you are aware about that. Okay, so we may not say only the requirement, it means that what the customer is need and blah, blah, blah. So that's done. No, when we make a documentation, the documentations for any software, it becomes a sort of a thesis. Okay, it has the instructions and It has the all of the requirement, function requirement, non-function requirements, drive requirement, a sort of the manual, and other details related to the software. So it is the means standard, international standard, which is provided by the IEEE 729 is a number. What that the requirements are a condition or a capability. I'm trying to read the definition for you word by word, as you can understand. A condition or capability needed by a user to solve a problem or achieve an objective. So this is the right definition, the requirement, because if we don't have the right requirements, we will not be able to achieve our goal. If I'm giving you an assessment, you remember that your assessment is itself is means always 4, 5, 6 pages. It contains all of the information that what is the assessment, what will be the last date, supposed to do, what will be the case scenarios, what will be the requirements, what tools you can use, what questions you are supposed to answer, how you can prepare your report, where you can submit, and how and when you can submit, what are the instructions that how you can make it, and then providing a rubric details that you can see that for each particular part, what we are looking for. If you are going to provide up to this, then it will be means lies or it will be means going belongs to this group, the good or bad or excellent or whatever. So just see, this is all the set of the, I mean, assignment is prepared for you people in a way that you can get the right requirements. So once you as a customer, as a student, if you get the right requirement, then only you will be knowing that actually what you're supposed to do. But at the same time, you're supposed this whole assignment, if I just misplace it in a one paragraph or in a one line, this is the thing, and you just go and do this one. So for sure, when you will be submitting your assignment, everyone and each of the group will be coming up with a very means different material and very different direction. So someone will be coming from east and someone will be coming from the west and someone will be coming from north and like that. So this could be a good example from where you can understand the requirement importance. So as per the IEEE document, another definition is that a condition or capability that must be met or possessed by a system. So that is the requirement. And this is another definition. So that is where we are saying, if suppose the requirement is there, if you are not able to fulfill the requirement of the customer will say, no, this is not means working. Your software is not working. We are not gonna own it. We are not gonna pay you. So that's what we mean. That's what the IEEE document is saying. A condition or a capability that must be met or possessed by a system. So if any means condition or any requirement is not there, we cannot consider that as a complete project, complete assignment. In the same way, in your complete means assignment, if suppose that's why the requirements are there, if suppose something is missing, we cannot say this is the means comprehensive or complete. To satisfy a contract standard specification or other formally imposed document. So this is a something to be do it must. But then again, we have the three different types of requirement, as I mentioned to you. One is the functional requirement, other one is the non-functional requirement, and third one is the drive requirement. I hope as a software engineer, you are knowing that what is the functional requirement, what is the non-functional requirement, and what is the drive requirement. So I can give you a quick view. If suppose we go for the functional requirement, so you can see from here, the functional requirement, it means that requirement must be done. In case if suppose any of the functional requirement is not fulfilled, that means our system is not complete, we cannot deploy it. That is the basic need of the system. Say for example, you are designing a laptop. So you can see from here, from this example, that we have for the functional requirements, we have the 4 buttons, B1, B2, B3, and B4. So what it means that B1 shall be the power on. When we press the button, so it can power on. And B1 shall, B4 shall be the power off. So what happened, whatever we are doing with the B2 or B3, they are the requirements which are, means function requirement, but we are doing in between from means switching on our laptop and up to switching off our laptop. Now you just consider that anyone, this is a very simple example, just to give you the means proper understanding. Now, if any of the function requirement is missing, okay, either the button which is missing that we cannot power on, then it means our complete laptop is become a useless for us. We cannot power on, we cannot do anything. Even in case if suppose the last button is missing, we cannot shut down. So it means again, this is means not useful, we cannot use it. So this is the one of the most of the simple and best example to give you the understanding that what is the functional requirement. It means if suppose it is the something which is necessary, and that's why we say that output that must be produced. Inputs that are expected by the system and output that must be produced. A relationship between those inputs and outputs. So in other simple words, we can say that functional requirements are must do requirements. We cannot deny that. We cannot means go beyond that. If suppose we are missing, we will not say our system is 100% or even our system is not functional or even it is useless. As I give you the example on the 4 buttons of the laptop. Now, what is a non-functional requirement? It doesn't mean that non-functional requirement is not important. No, that is truly important. And few of the informations or few of the requirements from the non-functional requirements are also very crucial, very vital, very important as well. But why we call them the non-functional? In case, suppose the few of them are missing, so the performance of our system will be low, optimization of our system will be low, efficiency of our system will be low, but system will be working. We cannot say that system is not working. Okay. Say for example, you can see these are the few of the examples of the non-functional requirements. So from this example, you can see that auditability, extensibility, maintainability, performance, portability, reliability, security, testability, usability, etc. There are so many things. Now, what happen if suppose the performance is low? Then we cannot say that our system is useless. We have so many examples in our life. Like suppose we are using so many machines. If I say I'm using my laptop, if suppose it is going to be sometime if I need and it means restart with that. So it might take means the 35 minutes to 40 minutes or 30 minutes at least. So why it is taking too long? This is the means something with what we call it is a functional requirement that it must be ready when I means started. It should be means ready within a minute, but it's taking so long. Its performance is not there. So this is the non-functional requirement for this that should be. But what happened is performance going down because of having so many softwares, because teaching the different modules. So we're having the different softwares and different tools and doing means the postgraduate research. So a lot of things. So now what happened? The performance of the system goes down. So now this is the non-functional requirement. But what we can say, we cannot say that now this laptop become a useless. Okay, its performance is low, but it is a full product. It's working, means we can consider it as a full product which is working. So I hope you understand the difference between the non-functional and functional requirement. So I can just say it baseline as a bottom line that in case if suppose from the functional requirement, if any of the functional requirement is missing something critical, system is not complete. If some of the thing from the non-functional requirement is missing, so we can say system is working, but not at the same level what it is expected. So this is what we can call, and this is non-functional requirements are also important as well. Like suppose what I gave you the example for the performance, but what happens if suppose it is not reliable? I'm working and means after some time it goes off. Okay, in the same way, the other non-functional requirement, if this means going to be a huge list which is not means available in this, so what happened? So it means then I have to go and change my machine. This is the means one of the simple example which I can means give you from where you can understand the things very easily and quickly. So I hope you understand. But in the functional requirement, that is these are the must requirement. We cannot avoid them. Here means better that we may not avoid, but in case if suppose, then we can say, okay, no problem. Okay, so like this is the functional requirements. Now, what are we discussed about the functional requirements and non-functional requirements and the drive requirements and everything, and then we are knowing that how we link them with the security. Now we are looking for, now we are looking for the what are the attributes for the good requirement. When we are collecting the requirement, how we can say that these requirements are really means good and these requirements are not really good. Based on what? Okay, this is the most important point to be means understand and consider. That is actually when we are collecting the means requirements, we have to know that means that particular requirement is testable or not. Okay, and we cannot say if suppose it's a testable, so then we can say this is the good requirement because testable is only a one factor. We have a lot of different factors. So if we say the requirement what we had collected, oh, it's testable, fine. It's a complete, fine. It's clear, understandable, it's fine. It is consistent, it is fine. And no ambiguity in that is fine. And we can mirror the requirement is fine. So these are the few of the attributes. While if we have the information, what we are collecting, this information is actually related to the requirement. If we are collecting a requirement, in other words, simple words, which are testable, which are complete, which are clear, which are consistent, which are unambiguous, and which are measurable, then we can say that these are the good requirements. Okay, and when we are collecting these requirements, so these requirements are means having the functional and non-functional and derived requirement of. So we, after collecting, we can means group them or separate them that which requirements are actually the functional, which are the non-functional, and which requirements are actually the means derived requirement. But that is actually means the main job for the developer or for the software engineer. You as a security engineer, you are supposed to see that the aspects of the requirements what are collected, they are testable, they are complete, they are clear, they are consistent, they are unambiguous, they are measurable, and they don't have means any threat, or they will not be means run into the threats at any stage. What it mean? What I said this statement right now. Say for example, if someone is asking for the privileges, okay, in the hierarchy. So he is asking some higher level of the privileges for some of the hierarchy level of the employee, which actually doesn't require. What I mean by the actually doesn't require, because each of the hierarchy, they have their job description, their job requirement. So you as a security engineer, you can see that what is the job requirement, the privileges, what they are asking during the means requirement gathering, that is really in line with that or not. Maybe they are not asking the higher level of the privileges for the lower level of the job description. So if suppose we will not consider that one, then it will become the higher threat in future. Who will be looking for this? You as a security engineer, while you will be doing your audit, you will be means on the collected information requirements. So you are the one who will be mischecking that, and you are the one who will be confirming that how and what is the case about that. Now, I hope that you are pretty clear about these things. And now we are again going ahead to see that how we can be able to add the more security aspects in that. Though we already discussed it, how these requirements are and how we are collecting, what is the means functional, non-functional, and derived requirement and these things. But now we are looking again further to see that how we can add them, the further security aspects into that. So you can see from here, uh, the security requirements, not the security features. This is the most important point you need to understand. You need to understand while you are working for a secure software system, you need to differentiate between the security requirement and security features. They are totally different from each other. Okay. If you will not be able to differentiate, then you will not be able to means come up with the right solution. So first of the most important point is that you need to see the difference between the security requirement and about the security features. And here in this means today what we are considering, that we are considering about the security requirements actually. So you can see from here, from the coded text, they're saying that an increased number of the software organizations recognize that the developing security requirement is more important than the designing protection. It's a very big statement. You see, this statement is in quote. Okay, so it is not only a definition, but it is very important what it means, what it's saying. It's saying that the security requirement is more important than designing the protection. If your security requirement are not standard, not up to date, not as per the means required level, then what happened? Then in that particular case, if you are trying to protect your software, trying to install the firewalls, trying to install the antiviruses, trying to install the other manner, trying to apply the policies and everything. But what happened if suppose your security requirements are not good? Then it means your software cannot survive. If you didn't means think that what are the right privileges for the right level of the job description, now you are saying antiviruses should be there. Now you're applying the means organization policies should be there. Okay, everyone is applying everything. But what happened if suppose this is the case? So that's what they mean. That's what this gentleman mean, that security requirement is more important than designing a protection. So it's a very and truly important, because paying attention to the security requirements in the early stages of the software lifecycle potentially save millions of dollars. If you are means considering the security requirement, it will help you to save millions of dollars. How? From means prevent to fail your software. If your security requirements are not good, whatever the policy requirements are, whatever the company policies are, whatever the existing physical means procedures are, whatever things are, but then there is a room that your software will be means under trouble. And see, young man, here this is the most important point. And here what we are saying it's important, and I hope you understand. But this is not the whole secure system what we're talking. This is the only one phase after that, which is the requirement, secure requirement. What about the other SDLC phases? So in case if suppose we are making means ignoring this at all of the stages, so now you can understand that what could be the importance of these things. What could be the importance of these things that maybe that allow us to discontinue our products from the market. So this is what a highly important. Security is not about the features. So you need to means be very clear about that. May not think that we will provide this feature and this feature and this feature, then our program will be secure. So don't means measure the security in the features. Okay, security, you need to measure the security requirement or security in a security aspect. Not look it and not consider it and not mingle it and not mix it and not confuse yourself with the features. It's typically difficult or impossible to patch the bad software. If you will not take care about these things, so means then you need to have the patches. You remember for so many software, we have the patches all the day they are coming. These are the software updates, these are the patches are there. But that is a limit, that's a level we can patch the softwares. But if suppose we have a weak requirement collection, secure requirement collection, then what happens? We will not be in a position to mispatch it. And patching is not easy. That requires the human resource and everything. The cost involved, it's not means free. So anyhow, that's what I mean that we can save the millions from that. So early consideration of security makes it part of the standard SDLC. So that's what we are discussing, that the SDLC is highly important and we always consider that one. Okay. So place it on as a part of the function requirement. You can test what you don't specify. Okay. So you cannot test which you don't specify that. So how you need to do, how you can check, you need to see that this is fit. If you're fine with these, all of the attributes, it means that your requirement collected is fine. There is no ambiguity. This is all of them. It consists, they are complete, they are testable, they're measurable, they are clear. So it means that you are going fine. I hope you understand the difference between the secure requirement and security features. Now, these are the few more things from new and old vocabularies, means the old concepts and new concepts in our computer, means world of computer, in the world of the technology, the definitions are also keep changing. So don't consider that these things remain always the same, because world is changing. Okay, So the security, say for example, if we just, I give it as an example, the security is changed the moment we jump to the wireless environment. Okay, if we just go the 2 decade before, if we just go to the 2 decade before or 3 decade before, there was no wireless environment or very less wireless environment. All of the means internet was there, computers were there, machines were there, but only with the LAN and wired media. So the security requirements and security definition was totally different at that time. Now we have the two different security definitions and two security, it means type of the requirements and everything is changed. So that's what he mean, the old vocabulary and the new vocabulary. So the functional requirements means the functional security requirement, a condition or a capability needed in the system to control or limit the fulfillment requirements. So these are the different definitions for the non-functional requirements as well. That an emergent property of the system required to ensure fulfillment of the requirements in the face of the abuse or misuse. Okay, the drive security as what we discussed from the functional requirement from the other security requirements. So that is the dependent on the functional requirement and other requirements as we discussed. So that's what we have a focus that you can understand things. Now, what we means discussing that we are discussing with the security aspect. So, what are the security typical properties? I hope you already know. The primary thing is the CIA. We mentioned here, the new and old vocabulary. So, the CIA is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is the also old vocabulary. While we don't have the wireless, when we come up with the wireless, CIA for sure, that's a primary there, but now it extends further. So you can see from here, now it become the means CIAA. We can say CIAAA. So that is the confidentiality, integrity, availability, accountability, and access control. And you can know that what is the access control, how we are doing that, using the authentication, identification, verification. And we are not going to miss that part, and this will be something very different. But here at this stage, we are just saying about the access control. Access control means that we have to provide the proper access mechanism for any user who is trying to access our software. What it is, we will discuss it in upcoming slides as well. So this is all the typical properties. Now, security for the non-functional requirements are that we may have the audit logs shall be means verbose and enough to support the forensic. So whatever in the non-functional requirement, we have to have the logs for the system, whatever the operations are doing. We're managing and maintaining the log. Logs for the application are highly important. They, if suppose the logs are generated, logs are not means taken carefully, then most of the misusing persons or hackers, they are actually using the means logs, and from there they are getting the information about software, and they are means trying to damage their software. So we have to be very careful about that. And at the same time, we have to be very careful that those logs should be informative, not for the means hackers or for the negative people, but it is informative, or it should be informative for you, for us who are the developers, that in case if suppose something is going to be happen wrongly, that information may comes to us so we can address that one. So all account modifications events shall be logged. This is the most important. Okay, always logs are there. The event log shall contain date, time, user, action, object, prior value. We means these are the things which can help us. And these are the things actually also which can help us if suppose something is going to be wrong with this. So we can means track them, we can trace them. So about the logs shall have the integrity protection as well. So I hope you understand. Application uses of the credit card data shall be PCI compliant. So this is the another what we call the standard. So we have to have all of the security aspects and requirements. Now we have to have the logs in case if suppose someone is misusing our credit card, any means bogus transaction is there. So we may not looking only for the one side of the picture that we can make the means system are secure, blah, 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 and consider all of the security. And now no one is able to trace it back. No, we have to have the log, we have to have the mechanism. In case if suppose something is going to be happen wrongly, so the software can help us, provide us the link or hints so we can find out, trace them, or find out the footprints. And we call this in technical term, the footprints that from where and how it happened, so we can reach to that particular person. That is also the one of the security requirement part. As we discuss about the driving security, so the web applications, like suppose now you need to understand what is the further understand what is the driving security requirements. So you know that the requirements are like functional and non-functional. So as we discussed that this is the driving security which is derived from the functional requirements and somewhat it is from the non-functional requirement as well. So you can see from here our functional requirement is that website should be there, online password and other mechanisms should be there. So now what is the driving requirement? So the driving requirements, if suppose the web app required means it must have, okay, but it must, all accounts must means have to have the passwords. And in case if suppose the sum of the user is trying to log in again and again, so we may not allow to the user for the multiple times, 100 times, because this could be means counted towards the DDoS attack. Then what we have the mechanism, say for example, if someone user is trying for multiple time, for more than 5 times or more than 3 times, this we can set with the help of our code, that then the system will stop the access for that particular user, at least for some time, for some minutes, for some hour, for some day, like that. Okay, so this is one of the derived requirements that is there, and that is already implemented in most of the softwares as well. So now I hope from this example you understand more clearly about driving the security requirements. And thinking the backward, most important part as well. Think of the abuse cases and misuse cases as the backward use cases. Okay, so you need to consider as what we were discussing, that we need to discuss means consider that how it happened, how we can means go back and trust them, and how we can find out the footprints, and how we can means get a lesson to means upgrade our system, and how means the people are they can means try to damage our system from that particular path, but whatever happened. So always we need to means think about the backward as well. So from in other simple words we can say we have to be ready always to learn from our mistakes. Okay, the mistakes are there, always there. This is the part of our life, so we have to learn from that. Okay, not the consider this as a mistake as a mistake. If suppose we are applying everything, we are doing everything, that even what happened if suppose system is means uh, uh, going to be misused by someone or misleading for something, then we have to means go and think backward and see what are the procedures and how we can improve that, and we can get the information about that. Okay, now say for example another example from where you can understand that what is the means security requirement or functional requirements, and what are the drive requirement are there. For example, we are talking about the ATM machine, which is known as the automated teller machine. Everybody from us, we are normally using that. So you can see from here that what are the primary function requirement. The primary function requirements are that someone can go and can log in and means can withdraw the money and can log out. That is the main function requirement. As you know, the function requirements are those. If suppose someone is not there, then we cannot say that the system is up and nobody can use that. If suppose this is not the case. So you can see from here, if we provide the login, but someone cannot withdraw the money, so its system is not working. If we provide the login, can someone can withdraw the money, but system cannot log out, then again nobody will use. So if suppose withdraw money and log out functionalities are there, but someone cannot log in, so it means the next means series of the operation cannot be done. Sorry. So that is what actually about the functional requirement. How about the security requirements? That what we are doing, we can make the login secure, and we can means stop the multiple attempts and whatever the things what we discussed, how they can draw the money and these things out and everything. But you can see from here that these are the function requirement: login, withdraw, and log out. So what we are means considering the security aspects for that, we must say for the login, the user must require the card, must require the PIN as well. If someone does not have a card, cannot log in. Someone has a card and cannot have the PIN, cannot log in. Someone has entering a PIN, but the PIN is not correct, cannot log in. Okay. And suppose someone is withdrawing a money, so it must have the money means some sort of a level, some sort of a limit that you can draw the 100 or 1,000 or something like that. That's a part of the security. Otherwise, the money is yours. Why not? You can draw that means all of the money. But no, this is just under the security layer. Okay, so how much money you can draw in a one day, that is also the part of security. To means this is for the security of the customer, and can't exceed means money amount. That's what we are saying. It's still not good enough. Whatever we are doing these things, but if we consider that it's okay now, it's everyone is secure and everyone is okay, but this is no, it's still not that level. Still there are the things, still there are the issues, still there are the problems. What are those problems are? Like suppose you can see the security requirements, probably the shoulder surfing is there. You don't want to display your pin, but maybe the means the other person who is standing and means from your back for his turn, waiting for his turn, so he can be received from upside from your shoulder. So this is known as the in security terminology. It's the shoulder surfing. Maybe he is having an eye at what you are entering. So you notice that we are providing some sort of the means box or some sort of the frame on the means keyboard for the ATM machine, that the people who are means standing on our back or people who are standing on the left or right, they might not be able to see it what the pin code are. That's the security means requirement as well. Steal card, then if suppose someone steal your card, so how we can now save it? How the machine will identify that this is not the genuine person? So for that reason, we are limiting the attempts. If suppose someone who is not owning the card, for sure he or she will not be able to come up with the one first or second approach, because they will be just trying to means come up with the guess that could be this code, is could be this or this or this. So after a few attempts, what we do, we don't allow the login attempts. This is what we are doing in our email and other accounts. But when we talk about the ATM and financial transactions, so in that, what they do, they even means stop you from the login. They take your picture, your ATM card machines, they have always the camera. They take your pictures, and also on the top of that, they hold the card. They will not give you the card back. So if you are anyone who is the bad guy, now the card is in the safe zone. He cannot use it more. And the owner, who is the means himself, he actually can go to the bank, visit the branch, and can collect the card. So this is what actually in the means security requirements and drive security requirements. Okay. So these are the most other things as well that we are supposed to means consider them. This is how just giving you the most of the examples that how the security secure information requirement is important. Now, anti requirements as a useful construct. Now, what happened? We have to means think on that as well. That the requirements generally have the form. The system should do the something for any input of the activity. But we have to means think about the anti requirements as well. We need to categorize the possible outcomes, rank them in order and severity for the perfect to the worst. Okay, and we need to define, like suppose how it could be, what it is necessary, what it is not, how we can control, how we can handle, how we can limit them, how we can group them, why we are doing the threat analysis, why we are considering the risk assessment, why we are collecting the secure requirements, how we are means getting the help from these all things to go for the secure coding. We will discuss about secure coding. So you will see that how we are doing the secure coding for these all things before whatever we discuss, that is the things that can help us to reach to that particular level. So you can see from here, we need to consider each and every aspect. Requirements, secure, need to differentiate them from the features, and we need to know what are the functional and what are the non-functional, what are the drive, and what are the anti requirements, and what are the privileges, and what are the means exceeding then the privileges, or maybe the wrong privileges goes to the wrong, and how we can have the drive security informations, and then how we can handle that as well. So there are so many things that what we discuss. I hope that you are able to. So for the NT requirements, we have the different mechanisms and different inputs and different formulas that we can provide, that the system should produce a unique identifier which can be valid for the n days in the future given time, blah blah blah. This is also like, suppose sometime you forget your just giving you an example from where you can understand it more. Sometimes you forget your password for your email. You keep trying, so after some attempt it blocks you, and after that, it's saying if suppose you forget your password, you just go and it means uh, say that forget password, so we can send you the link. When you are saying forget your password, they are not showing you the password. Okay, did you notice? They're not showing you the password, but they are sending the link to your registered email, and they are not showing anything to you. And when they are sending you the link, also they are not sharing with you your previous password, but they are saying this is the link. You can go and reset your password. Okay, and the link what they are providing to you, that link has a validity, time validity. If you're not able to use within that particular time, then the link will be expired. So these all are the concepts that how we are discussing about the requirements and the requirements, and how are the end numbers, and how we can handle them. Now, building and abuse cases as well. Say, for example, how we can identify from the requirements that these are the abuse cases, or could be these cases could be abused in future, and how and what could be the possibilities where they can lead. This is also your job, primary job as a security engineer. You need to see that, follow that as well. Okay, to differentiate among the security requirement and to differentiate among the requirement abusing requirement. So one of the example I gave you about the privileges. In case you suppose someone has the extra privileges or more privileges than his or her role, that is known actually what that is actually known as the means abuse cases. So that could be any. This is the only one of the example I gave you. And here we are just discussing the things that we are just referring to the some points from where you can be able to understand. But there could be many, and these are the only for your proof of concept. Going ahead from these examples, you can see more clearly about the abuse cases. Okay, what are the points which could be abused? So you can see from here, this is the user on left side, and right side is the hacker. You can see on the arrows and the colors. Okay, so you can see the red color is actually for the threats, and the green color arrow is showing about the mitigation. Okay, so user is trying to have the blue arrow. The blue arrow is actually showing the normal process. So user can go and user can browse the catalog, and it can go to the security controls, authorization models. So you can see all of the arrows, they are okay, they are fine, there are no issue in that one. But the red arrows, you can see that this is the possible abuse cases. So hacker is from the other side. They can come up for the denial of service. They can modify the catalog. They can do the brute force password attack. I hope you are aware about the brute force and the system bug attacks and doing this one. For all of that, they are trying to having an attempt to misbreak the browser catalog or browser catalog. So this is how the mechanism is in case if suppose we will be allowing the misuse or allowing the abuse requirements, then it will be easy, very easy for the hackers that they can misuse our information. Now this is another example. You can see from here, this is the abuse case of the login process. So from here, the user can log in, security controls are there, and whatever the options they can use. But what happens if suppose the hacker or the customer, the hacker is trying to capture user password. So then it means hacker will be, you can see from the red arrow, then he will be able to reach to the same level of the user, and now he can do all of the operations. So this is the abusing mode. So they can capture the temporary password. Again, this would be an issue. Temporary password, what it mean? Like suppose there we are having a password link, but it is coming to us and it is allowing us to change the password for the temporary time period. Or if suppose they are able to decrypt, or suppose the hacker can misuse that forget the password and then they can send So this is how these all are the abusive cases. So while we are collecting the security requirement as a security engineer, we have to be careful, consider these all of the points very okay. So ideally, that during your initial requirement, you need to be careful about these all of the things. And the next best thing is that you need to means test your strategy, okay, and include your security test plans as a part of your strategy, and always keep a balance for the security testing and the risk and impacts, and calculate the threats, and define and level them and rank them, and what are the right requirements and what are the requirements that could be possibly having the issues in the future related to the security threats and so on. So I hope you understand the concept of the things what we are trying to deliver and discuss to you. So again, this is the reference. We already mentioned that this is actually means we took from the digital.com from the industry perspective. So this is all about today. Thank you very much. I hope you understand the things. So now, if you have any question, please let me know. Otherwise, we will go for the attendance, and then after that, we will go to discuss about your midterm exam as well. So meanwhile, I can open your attendance. I have to stop sharing this screen and also stop the recording as well, so as we can go for the attendance.